Good, perfect. So thank you very much, dear friend and Professor Carmen Beatriz. It is my pleasure to be here for the third time, as you said. But I think this is trying to. Okay, I see. Let's start by the basic concept of diplomacy, okay? So diplomacy is the profession, activity, or skill of managing international relations, typically by a country's representative abroad. It's just as simple as that. But when we speak about digital diplomacy, we will add some other tools and some other concepts that make the definition quite more deeply. So digital diplomacy, it is the implementation of traditional diplomacy adhering to the standards or rules of conventional foreign policy through this time, using unconventional technological platforms to take advantage of its immediacy and scope. I remember, Carmen Beatriz, that in the first time I delivered this conference in 2020, we were saying that the diplomacy, it was the same thing, but we were only using a different tool. This time, after 3 years, I can tell you that the diplomacy have been growing so much and so fast that we need to, I mean, the digital diplomacy already had an evolution. So we need to say that digital diplomacy does not change the essence, this keep the same, remain the same. Nevertheless, the diplomacy will be used and will be delivered with new topics and even with new tools. In those tools, we will probably think that the most important one, the most powerful one, is the way how we communicate between ourselves. These are the pillars that I think the digital diplomacy is structured. I think the number one pillar that compounds the digital diplomacy is the connection. Let's think about something really interesting. You know that when we speak about diplomacy, one of the things that immediately comes to our minds is the embassies. So with the digital diplomacy, we can start talking about virtual embassies. This is one of the cases, for example, that happened with one embassy of the United States in Iran. I remember that for those times, and I think they are still even working like this. In Iran, United States, because of the situations that we already know, for them it's quite difficult to have a physical embassy. So what they are doing is having a virtual embassy to attend different people that are looking for visas, that are looking for passport, that are looking for different things in the embassy. Also, they promote different projects for education and things that usually the embassies used to promote when they are delivering their jobs. One other thing that we can say that comes with the digital diplomacy and with the current times is this kind of exchanges, Zoom calls, conference, even the UN by 2021, it was through a virtual platform. I remember even that it was very interesting because not only the people that are in UN were capable to follow the different speaks and speeches of the different rulers and presidents of all the countries that were participating in the UN, but everyone with a computer, with a cell phone, were able to follow this interesting meeting that happens every year. And then any of us, only with this tool, can follow and can even promote or be part of the exchanges that we are having currently every day with other of the pillars that we will mention. For example, the exchange. The exchange of communication is something very important and very practical with the digital diplomacy. Just about yesterday, I remember that I was reading the news on CNN in Twitter, and I read that the embassy of United States in Russia were inviting their citizens to move away from Russia. They were inviting them just to move away, as they did when in the beginning of the year, something were about to happen in Ukraine. Probably you guys can remember this situation. So now, just from yesterday, we know already that something probably could happen. As people said in the Middle East, inshallah not, because doesn't look like something good if they are inviting their citizens to move. But now we know what is the line of the communications that the embassy is providing to their citizens, and this kind of exchange is very important to know. Something that is very interesting to think about when we talk about the exchange is that there are always two parts in a story. For example, when the people of any country, to not mention one specifically, is when the military of any country, with the army of any country, is bombing another country, most of the times in the Middle East, unfortunately. They said that they are doing this because they need to attack the terrorism. And the people in that country that is under attack has a different story. They said that this country is attacking them because of any interest they have, for example, most of the time because of the sources that this country have. This kind of exchange is important because in the traditional diplomacy, we don't even understand that. We just know what the news provide us. But in this new world, with these new tools and with this immediacy and large audience, we have the chance to get our own opinions and also to do our own analysis. And this is one of the important things of the exchange and understanding as a pillars of the digital diplomacy. The immediacy brings to my mind the day when, for example, Osama bin Laden was killed by the army of the United States. I remember that day I was sitting on my sofa watching the television, and I was reading Twitter, and I read that Osama bin Laden was killed. First time I read it was here in Twitter, fast, immediate. I don't know, maybe after just 5 minutes when the White House delivers the press release of this new situation. Then I wait for CNN news to confirm what I read in Twitter. That was a lot of, probably 1 decade ago. And now, in fact, when you watch any news, you go to Twitter to confirm. It's the opposite right now. So that's tell you how important are coming the tools that we have in our hands or in our pockets to take advantage of the immediacy and the understanding that the digital diplomacy provides us. The scope is something very, very important, and this is one of the evolution. This is one of the things that have been evolving after these 3 years that we are delivering this conference. Why I'm saying so? Because at the beginning we were talking only about communication, but now we are talking about different, very deeply topics like the e-commerce, is something that is happening in the virtual world. We are talking about the regulations of the cryptocurrency, for example. We are talking about mental health after what happened when people were called to stay home with the COVID 2019. And we are even talking about the climate change. And some of these very important topics are all of them part of these discussions that we are having through the tools that the digital diplomacy provides us. I'm saying digital diplomacy because all of these discussions are part of public policies that needs to be taken by the countries and by the governments. That's why these important tools give us the chance to participate and to be and to understand what is happening, and also to be more clear about the situations. In my way to think, all of this should put us as a goal the opportunity to bring more peace and harmony to the world. Because unfortunately, as I said before, you have always two sides in the story. So I remember in the beginning of this year, we had President Zelensky and President Putin, each of them saying something different, and of course, each of them defending their point. But unfortunately, we just talk about the e-commerce, we just talk about the mental health, we just talk about the climate change. These are topics that needs to be discussed, not war, or not these kind of topics that bring us only problems like the cost of the different products, the problem that Europe is facing with the supply of the gas from Russia, all the problems that with the inflation that are bringing now to the present because of this kind of situation. So I think the tools that we have should be used to promote peace and harmony, and not to promote more conflictive situations. So in that case, we are living in a world of conflicting relations instead of living in a world with understanding and good exchanges. We are all now digital citizens of the world. I am here, you are in Spain right now, I am Panamanian, I'm sure you have different nationalities. I would love also to hear when I finalize my presentations from where are you coming, guys, and to have the chance even to talk a little bit about it. But this big audience also give us the chance to bring new actors in the digital diplomacy. Now it's not only about presidents, it's not only about representative of the presidents. Let's remember that at the beginning, the rulers, they start exchanging communication through messengers, riding on horses. Then we had the doves that were sending the messages as the dove they use for the Twitter. Then we had letters, then we have telegraph, then we have phone calls, and now we have emails, Twitter, social media, and WhatsApp. So imagine to be in a group where you have different leaders of the world participating. This is something that is happening right now. I don't know what kind of security have this group or this kind of communications, but for sure, they can take advantage at least to speak some things and to go further faster than before. And this is exactly what the digital diplomacy brings us with these tools as a practical use for those ones, to implement new ways to make the good decisions faster. brings new actors to the exchange of the topics. Now you have Leonardo DiCaprio speaking about the climate change. You have Greta Thunberg, you have Emma Watson, and you have different people, not only actors, but you have leaders and people from the community talking about the situation directly, not waiting for the president to represent them and to talk if they want for 30 seconds in their speech in UN about the problem. I think we definitely can use the tools that we have when we are in a different place from where we come, and to share the information we are learning. For example, I remember when I was ambassador of Panama in Qatar, I really love the culture, the Qatari culture. I love the things that I had the chance to learn there. And this, on this video, I remember I was trying my best to exchange with the people that were joining us in the celebration of the National Day of Panama. I told them to come wearing their national attires. And of course, the Qatari, they were wearing their own. And this is a short video of this. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sa'adat al-Masih, Muhammad bin Abdul Wahid al-Hamad. Sa'adat al-Mahdi al-Hamdi, Salat al-Rajim, Ahmad Hassan al-Hamdi. Sadiq al-Assis, Sa'adat al-Safir, Ibrahim Hussein Farm. Al-Sa'adat al-Farag. أيها سيدات والسادة، يسرني أن تحتفظون من جديد يدي الوطني لبلاد القناة. أهلا وسهلا بكم جميعا. Dear senators, ambassadors from all over the world, dear ambassadors of the Latin American and Caribbean group, I feel myself blessed person. I come from a very humble place in Panama, and thanks God I have the chance to get to know different people, different cultures, and different countries because of my job. I think one of the most important things that we should do is share our knowledge. And that's why I took also the chance with the new tools of the digital diplomacy when I was ambassador to write 2 books. First one is called Letters on the Wall. It's the one in the left of your screen that was published in 2019 and talks about different topics. I had the chance to be published in different newspapers around the world. And this is a compilation of my favorite articles, I would say. And each of them develop a content of different situations that we're having from 2019 until 2018. And Warriors in Times of Sacrifice. This book is about my experience being ambassador in Qatar. You know, I was representing one of the smallest embassies in Qatar, or probably one of the newest embassies in Qatar. Qatar has relations with a lot of countries, and they have the representations of it's probably one of the countries that have more representations from abroad. And well, I didn't have the chance to bring different shows, like, for example, the Embassy of England for the National Day of Qatar, they bring airplanes. The Embassy of Italy, they bring airplanes. I mean, I have no budget for this, right? So the only thing that comes to my mind was to write a book with my experience. Is this one, Warriors in Times of Sacrifice? And the beautiful things in this book is that in the content, we are talking about our experience in Qatar, exchanging cultures with the people of Qatar, with His Highness, the Emir of Qatar. But in the cover, this cover that looks, and it is artwork, it was made by the most important artist from Panama, Olga Sinclair. And the person that decides that the cover will be made by an artist from Panama was the Minister of Culture of Qatar. This is something that really makes me proud, because even the prologue of the book was made by Mr. Mehram Kamrava, who is one of the most well-recognized and respectful professors of Georgetown, Georgetown University in Qatar. He has about 48 books. And well, this is one of the things that makes me feel blessed. And this is, in fact, why I think the tools that we have in the current times are very important, and we really need to take advantage of them, because these two books are digitals as well, and we can just, exchange it. This is pretty much the ideas that I want to share with you today, guys. So the future successful governments are going to be those not with the largest armies, but those with the most connections. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Oreste. Thank you. And we have enough time now for, I will say, 3 or 4 questions. If you, I think we can ask all the questions together, and then having your time for the responses, because we are short on time, on Zoom time. So if anything happen, we can reconnect them, okay? So, okay. Who else beside, Gaston and Horta and Walsh? Your name? Iris. Lily. Liz. Sorry, Liz. Okay. Okay, come on, Liz. Could you ask from here?
Hi.
Hi.
English. First, thank you for the topic. And my question is basically, I am from Honduras. So I mainly focus on how do you think that cyber politics, that is something much more discussed in North America, in South America, and in Europe, how do you think it will affect Central America, and how do you think it will develop in the next decade?
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you very much. I love Tegucigalpa, by the way. You want me to hear all the questions and then?
Yes, I think so. Yes, at least these first 3 questions. Gaston.
Well, again, thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for your time. My name is Gaston and I'm from Venezuela. And my question is, what do you think, what role do you think digital diplomacy has played in the events with the annexation of the 4 territories of Ukraine and the referendums being held and all the media campaigns being made both by the West and Russian sympathetic countries?
Okay.
Hi, thank you for your time. I'm Luis, I'm from Venezuela, and I'm just going to ask you for something in your area, something actual, that if the Panama government have make a statement about the statement that the Qatari government made of the LGBTQI community and the unmarried persons that sadly cannot go to the Qatar World Cup in December? Thank you.
Okay, three good questions. So, okay, three difficult questions.
Terrific ones.
Okay, 10 minutes to answer.
Okay, I will start by Liz. As I was saying, I love Tegucigalpa. It's a beautiful place. I remember one of the landing. It was real difficult one was in Tincontin Airport in Tegucigalpa. It was amazing, but the truth is that it's a very short one, and for me was difficult. But really, I love to visit.
Very difficult airport. Yes. We
Yeah.
were together in one of those.
Exactly. I remember we were there together, Carmen Beatriz. Well, to respond to Liz, yes, definitely the cyber politics, it will be part of our work from now on. And we as a Central American region, we will be part as well of the politics that have been taken by United States, Europe, Asia, and all these countries. You know, I really think, and when I was studying, when I was practicing what I learned from my studying, and now that I'm not even in the diplomatic world for now, I still believe that we as a region, we need to work together. We have the SICA, this is the system of integration of Central America, but still we need more, you know, because we share so many things in common. We have the same language, we have the same, even it's not the most important thing, let's say, because it's not everything about religion, but we share the same religion. We share same weather. We share the same history because we come from the conqueror of Spain in Central America. So taking all these things in common, I think we should work as a group and not as an independent countries. Really, look how strong it was, and it will still be the European Union. United States themselves, they are a conglomeration of states, a federation, right? UAE, the United Arab Emirates, they are a confederation of states. So somehow, I think if we want to be part, a very important part of the cyber politics, the new cyber politics, we also need to do something to put ourselves on the table, to put ourselves on the map, to become more important. You know, just to give you an example, I remember when I was ambassador in Qatar, I had a meeting with some of my friends and colleagues of the diplomatic region in Central America. I told them that we have different sources, like for example, the coffee, and we can export coffee to the Middle East from El Salvador, Honduras, Panama, Costa Rica, you know, but unfortunately, just one of the 8 countries that I was talking in that meeting, just one was agree with me to work together, because the other 6, they told me, well, no, there is one I need to save because he wasn't in the meeting. So the other 5, they told me, you know, Oreste, I prefer to do my job. I want to promote my country and I don't need to promote the region. This is a mistake in my really humble opinion. I don't know what you think, but I think if we work together, we will be on the map and we will be on the mind of these big countries, these powerful countries. And of course, we can do alliance and we can work together in a better way. This is the first question, to Liz, right? The second is to answer Gascon about the social media impact in the situation between Ukraine and Russia. I think it was really impacting. It was unbelievable. It was everywhere. I think, of course, you have different sides to analyze and understand the situation. I, of course, have my personal opinion that I prefer to reserve, but trying to be really neutral and objective. What I will say is that you had and you become, even with biggest company participating in this, like, for example, Starlink, that when Ukraine lost the communication through the internet, Starlink said, I will send my satellites and I will provide you with internet connection. You also have the solidarity of different countries like the European Union, that now they are facing the effects, the negative effects, to be part of the problem, because at the end, now they are facing the problems with the supply of the gas, because Russia, they just closed the key. And now what they are going to do, they are coming to Qatar, they are asking Qataris to provide them with the gas. Now United States is sending them gas through vessels, and that's take a lot of times to reach the Europe Union. And this is kind of the things that are happening. But the fact, speaking about the social media impact, we saw different hashtags in Instagram, Twitter, all the social media, where people were, I think more connected with the Ukrainians and not with the Russians. One of the things that I cannot still understand is why they keep using the name NATO, if that is kind of part of the past, because the NATO was created to face the already done URSS, right? So if the URSS disappear, why they keep talking about NATO? If they want to have a new group, they can do a new group, but let's finalize with this narrative, and maybe let's start with something new. So maybe we can avoid this kind of conflicts, just changing or making small changes on the narrative. This is, at the end, I said my opinion. I said I will not, but I said kind of. and the last one to reply, Luis, right? Luis from Venezuela, about the situation in Qatar. Panama, I mean, they didn't do a communication, a specific communication about it. I would say that Qatar did it themselves. In Qatar, any person, as His Highness said on Germany in one meeting he had, and he was asking about the same. Anybody can come to the World Cup that will start on November 20. Anyone, from LGBT, from people from the same gender, married, but the situation is that they have their own thoughts, their own traditions, their own culture, and most of it comes from the religion they practice. They are Muslims, and we need to understand that in those topics, they have their own beliefs. It's like us, I am Catholic, and I would say that I also have my own belief about it. And maybe now in this part of the world, we are quite more open on these situations. They still keep their own thoughts about it, but nevertheless, they accept anyone, and they respect anyone. Only thing is that me being married with my wife from Mexico, if I want to hold her hand, I shouldn't. It's not that I can't, it's that I shouldn't. Because with this action, I am quite disrespectful to their traditions. They don't do that. In fact, sometimes you can even see them on the malls holding hands, Muslims, but this is something that is coming with the evolution of the society, because most of the young kids from that country or other countries from the Middle East, they are coming to study in United States, they are coming to study in England, they are coming to study in France. So they comes with a new